In fact, this is quite a question that has been raised since quite a long time in Mauritius. Do we need an act of parliament or not? There is what we call the Occupational Health and Safety Act. This is the only act that provides some regulations for the health and safety sector. But in Mauritius, I think at the level of the Association of HR, we have never really find it good for the profession that there is regulation. We wanted our members to operate fairly, but without really an act over their head. And we would like to maintain it this way, my friend. It gives us more flexibility, and in fact we, the association has been constantly struggling towards more flexibility at the workplace and trying to remove all these different regulations that govern. If for Malawi it is a good thing, yes, of course. If it is a good thing for South Africa, why not? But I think in our case, we have taken this debate so many times, and we have always found that no, we prefer to stay as we are and act professionally and be responsible to the business organizations where we employ. You do well, you're okay. You don't do well, they sack you and find somebody else to replace you. And I think it's better this way. It's better this way, and we will try to maintain it this way as long as we can. All right? My presentation of this morning is, I think it has been the theme since we deliberated the executive committee about what should be the theme for this year. It is based on what I've been saying in my different speeches, trying to make sure that the HR functions take a leading role in promoting ethics. This what is ethics has been defined by many. We have found the origin of the word, we have found all the synonyms that go with it, we have found everything that could be said about really defining ethics. And I'm happy that all the definitions given by the different presentators, speakers, go in line with what we are the HR profession are looking for. We have different perspectives, but all the different perspectives from finance, from education, from auditing, etc., went into making sure that we have the same definition of ethics. Finally, we said to ourselves that it should cover the following dilemmas: how to live a good life, our rights and responsibilities at the workplace, the language of right and wrong, how to discriminate, how to differentiate between what is right and wrong, moral decisions, how we come to making a decision of what is good and what is bad. We are looking for the right and honorable conduct. Yes, influenced by the Bible, inspired by religion, right and honorable conduct. Do unto others, and you will have them do unto you. And I think this has been a secret for the profession. We have always said to ourselves, put yourself in the shoes of the employees. Put yourself in the shoes of the employees. Then you will know how best to treat that person in front of you. Right or wrong, in one of our previous sessions, I remember having shared with you Freud's contribution to the structure of personality. If you remember that, I was trying to say that the human mind is composed of three parts: the id, influenced by what we call self-interest, egocentrism; the ego, the balance between the two; and the superego, which is the voice of your environment. So what is right and wrong will always differ in terms of a person's background. What is right for me may not necessarily be right for Mr. Despande. What is wrong for Mr. Despande may not be necessarily wrong for me. You understand? It's a question of, in fact, there are so many researchers on intelligence, and they have shown that the biggest basis of intelligence is environment. And the same is true for ethics, or we have to decide what is right, what is wrong. It depends on your background, it depends on your environment, it depends on what your teacher has told you, it depends on what your parents have been telling you, it depends on what your colleagues at work tell you. This is right, this is wrong, this is okay, no problem, no matter what it is. Don't bother about the others. A very high influence of the environment. The different approaches to ethics, and you will see that they've been derived from religions, from the environment, who is there in the environment, from philosophies, cultures. They today infuse debates on topics like, is abortion a good thing, a bad thing? Debates on human rights, what is correct, what is not correct for human rights, and now will be the subject of our discussion these days, professional conduct. Different philosophies, meta-ethics, normative ethics, and applied ethics. Meta-ethics, this is what Bob Morgan was trying to share with us yesterday in terms of judgment, at the place of work, situational judgment. It looks at the origins and the meaning of ethical principles. Why? Where does it come from? Does it stand good? Should we review our concepts? Normative ethics knows what is generally acceptable, moral judgments, and the criteria for what is right and what is wrong. So some people go into the extent of defining the criteria. And you have in many organizations, I am sure, in all organizations, a list of do's and don'ts. You are allowed to do this, you are not allowed to do that. You especially find it in health and safety areas. This is the right way to lift weights, this is the way to do it, this is not the way to do it. So criteria, define the criteria for what is right or wrong, normative ethics. And then you have applied ethics, which looks at the ways of everything that is controversial. Everything that is controversial. War, is war good or bad? Is this war justified or not? Is this war necessary or not? Animal rights. We have seen all the debates on animal rights, and in Mauritius, debates about capital punishment. Should we hang or not hang? You know, in Mauritius, that has been a debate. Earlier on, we used to have life sentences and death penalties, and then it was removed, and because of some, how do you call that, law and order issues, the debate is on the table nowadays, should we reintroduce death penalties? So these sort of debates go into what we consider right or wrong, but they affect people, they affect society, they affect business organization. Meta-ethics, objectivism, relativism, is it objective? Is it relative? Does it make sense? Psychological issues, egoism, self-centered, against altruism, let's do it for the others, forget my self-interest, emotion versus reason, male versus female morality. It is proven that there are different perspectives, male and female, towards morality. Normative ethics, value theories, don't kill, don't steal. We heard that yesterday from one of the presenters. Duty theories, being caring, duties to society, duties to the organization, and the most famous one, duties to God or duties to religion. Consequential theories, utilitarianism, what is favorable, what is favorable, and they may have not really concerned about what is right or wrong, but results the end justifies the means. Ethical egoism, society with moral values are considered to be much better. There is more respect for property, as the Commissioner of Police was saying yesterday, respect for property, respect for the person. So society with moral values. And then you have a social contract theory where you have policing agent. And this is what Michael was telling us about, the creation of acts, regulations and all this, and they keep policing you. You are policing agent. If you don't do it right, we will catch you and you will be punished for those who violate their rights. Applying ethics, normative principles, we all agree on some principles. So that's the norm. We agree this is good, so therefore everyone will be practicing it this way. Principles of benevolence, paternalism, a paternalistic approach, paternalism, no harm to society, being honest, being lawfulness, sense of autonomy, freedom, justice, treating everyone fairly, and rights to life, rights to information, rights to privacy, rights to expression, and sometimes we hear words like freedom of expression, rights to safety. But it always depends. It always depends. It always depends. What is right, what is wrong, it always depends. That is why yesterday when I said I promise you the presentation of the book will be really inspiring, it was because it was centered on what we call this situational judgment. What is right, what is wrong, it depends. As I told you, it depends on background, it depends on culture, it depends on so many factors. 3 types of ethics. Sorry, let me stay on this one. You know this exercise, no? Heard about this exercise? Anyone? Yes. It is called the train, sometimes they call it the trolley problem, the train problem. You've got a train coming fast there, that's the red part. You are this small dot up there. This is you. You have this train track, and you've got a decision to make. You either save, whichever decision you take, you save either 1 life or 5 lives. Which decision you take? Save 5? Save 1? Un criminel.
We need to know who those 5 and 1 are.
Un criminel. Save 1? Tu y sais?
No, we need to know who these are.
Yes, that's what we call situational judgment. Maybe the 5 ones there are 5 convicts, 5 burglars. The one there is a major surgeon, but they save him.
Who's more useful to the nation?
In studies of ethics, this is quite a long discussion about what do you do in such a situation, and they always complicate it by telling you this is if this one or that, if that one or that, etc. But obviously, if there is no choice to make, you have to save. I think you will choose to save the 5 lives. The kinds of ethical reasonings that we have. No. Personal benefit against personal harm. Would I get caught? Will I have to stand up in court? So that is what we call the personal benefit, personal harm discussion. Moral principle, does it violate some moral principle or personal code? Impact, does my action or inaction impact the bigger problem? Calculation, is it worth the time? Is it worth the money? Is it worth the resources? Is it something measurable? Calculation. And then culture, what does my family, what does society, what does my group tradition say about this? And because of that discussion in terms of ethical reasoning, we have had 4 theories, further theories that have been developed. We'll go quickly over them. Deontology. Deontology, classical theories say that people should adhere to their obligations and duties when engaged in decision making, when ethics are in play. This is highly important for doctors. That's why they have to do this, how do you call that, Hippocrates. And then also important for journalists. They have what we call this code de deontology. Then you have branches like descriptive ethics, normative ethics, meta ethics, and applied ethics, which we talk about. 6 philosophies. We say can and should be used to analyze situation. They are categorical, imperative, utilitarian, we talk about that, hedonism, the golden mean, the golden rule, and the world of the veil of ignorance. 2,500 years of Western moral philosophy, they are based on that. This is where it comes from. One of the four beliefs, deontology, utilitarianism, teleology, the end justifies the means. Sometimes we judge people on that, the end justifies the means. Do whatever it takes, even if it is unethical, the results are more important than what we do. Do anything, do even if it is immoral, if it is unethical, no problem, the end justifies the means. And finally, egoism, personal self-interest. Let me get you to do one exercise for me. Some of you may have done it before, but not many of you have done it. You know we are having a by-election in Mauritius. We are soon going to have a by-election in Mauritius. And I would like you now to do the voting for me. Okay, I will present you 3 candidates and you will have to vote. You write your vote on your paper. Okay? I'll describe the candidate to you and then you put your vote on paper. There's a prize for this exercise. If there is one winner, if there is more than one winner, there is a prize. Are we ready? You write to answer the paper. I have 3 candidates, I'm telling you. I will describe the 3 candidates and you write your answer on paper. Candidate A. Sorry? Yes, you can do that. Candidate A. Yeah, this is the prize that goes with it. Candidate A, he associates with crooked politicians and consults with astrologers. He has had 2 mistresses and looking for a 3rd one.
Wow.
He is also a chain smoker and drinks up to 10 martinis early morning. Candidate B, he was ejected from office twice. He sleeps until noon. Used opium in his early age in college. You know what is opium, huh? If you don't know, I'll give you some later. And drinks a large amount of whiskey every evening. That's candidate B. The last candidate, candidate C. Candidate C is a decorated war hero. He is a vegetarian, does not smoke, does not drink, sometimes a few beers, but no more than that, and has never had any extramarital affair. Please cast your vote, A, B, or C.
What do we need to select out of this?
Those that vote for C, raise your hands. C. C, decorated war hero, vegetarian, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, or C. Those who vote for candidate B. Those who vote for candidate A.
Somebody,
Okay, we have 2 votes for candidate A. Let us see what happens with the result of the election. Candidate A, it is said in the literature, the studies on ethics, is Benjamin Franklin, President of America. So those who vote for A, you have Franklin as your elected candidate. Those who voted for candidate B is Winston Churchill. And those who vote for C, how many for C? I forgot. Candidate C. Candidate C.
More number is per se.
The whole house for C? Candidate C is Adolf Hitler. Not possible to be a prize at this stage. So I'll keep it for further exercise. Why study ethics? Why is it important to study ethics? I found this from Flinders University and find it very relevant. Conflicting principles may lead to difficulties in determining what is right and what is wrong. Identify basic principles that can be applied to action. When we study ethics, it helps us develop critical ethical reasoning skills to assist us with ethical dilemmas. Studying ethics leads individuals to may hold inadequate beliefs, and applying them to dilemma examples may reveal the inadequacy of these beliefs. The famous voting exercise was an example. Understand whether and why opinions are worth holding. Understand the rationality behind decision making. What should be done and why? Have a checklist of questions to ask yourself to determine what the outcome should be. At the place of work, we are seeing nowadays, some organizations are coming up with this. They send you a questionnaire and they ask you to fill in to see if you have this ethics and compliance. It's a group self-disclosure questionnaire. This is being sent to your suppliers, your business partners. You send it to them and see, do they practice ethics in the organization? And it becomes part of you, a way of sharing with your own management what is happening in other business organizations. It's a good way, it's a good practice to send out what I call this questionnaire. And sharing with you another thing is, I don't know if you've heard of it, but I think you should note it and make sure that by Monday morning you register your business organization on that SEDEX, Supplier Ethical Index. SEDEX, Supplier Ethical Index. Nowadays, we are having many businesses that want to do business with you. They ask you, are you SEDEX registered? Yes. So this is they have their site. They will go there, check if you really have ethical practices at your workplace. In fact, what was it? Bellingtons? Bellingtons from UK, which is one of our customers, asked us if we are SEDEX registered. What is SEDEX? We didn't know. Then they explained that you should be SEDEX registered. It is called Supplier Ethical Index. It costs around 5,000 rupees, Mauritian rupees. So get your organization registered on that. This will lead you as HR professionals to bring to your organization, here I am bringing to you something which is new, but which creates business opportunities for us. Work ethics, to avoid erosion of trust, to prevent cynicism, to prevent dysfunctional manifestations of politics. I'm talking here of organizational politics, which is more dangerous than political politics. Many organizations have paid the price of not being able to manage organizational politics. To prevent aggression, violence at the workplace. I know of I saw it in a clinic in Mauritius. In a clinic, this is a violence-free environment. This is an aggression-free environment. Even verbal aggression is not accepted. So which means that if you go there and you accept to be in that premises, you cannot use violence, you cannot use aggression, even verbal aggression. I have seen it in a clinic, and it's a beautiful example of preventing aggression and violence. To build long-term reputation, sustainability, to promote sustainable businesses, the greater good of a greater number. The greater good of a greater number. Win-win. Putting HR into the perspective of ethics, we deal with manpower, we have to do manpower planning, or we call it human resource planning. We have to do that. We have to look into development. We have to look into all issues in the organization. So what HR really is concerned about ethics really matter. Where does it really matter? Since it concerns human issues, especially those of, we've heard about that, selection, compensation, employee development, employee advancement, promotion, industrial relation, health and safety, and so many issues related to ethics. So because of that, great pertinence, great relevance to ethics. I invite you to have a quick watch over this video, if it plays. Two approaches. First, critical. Tool of management to control the workers. Employees sacrifice goals for those of the organization. Inequality, conflict, domination, and manipulation. Please the boss or please the bosses. You become yes men. You do whatever your boss can do, you become yes man. And it has been found in researchers in management studies that most of the organizations that fail because of this problem of yes men in the organization. They say yes to everything. And when they say yes to everything, they develop what we call groupthink. What is groupthink? It means in this organization, everybody thinks the same way. There is no one to challenge a decision. There is no one to say, be careful, you may be taking a wrong decision here. There is no one to say, be mindful, this is not correct. And when we don't have people like this, you have what we call yes men around, pleasing the bosses. Examine employees in order to measure, rank, and classify the basis of skills, performance, and behavior, the utilitarian approach. Then we have another Second, ethical approach. This is called the critical approach. Let's look at the ethical approach. The ethical approach, fairness, based on equity, fairness based on reciprocity, putting yourself in the shoes of the other person. Fairness based on impartiality, respecting all employees throughout the employment cycle, when they join, when they grow with the business, till the time that they leave, throughout the employment cycle. Doing always what is right, not necessarily pleasing the boss. This is quite a hard call on HR managers. Doing always what is right, not necessarily pleasing the boss. At least have the courage to stand up and say that you are not in favor of this decision. And sometimes I have this bad practice of saying, please put on paper in the minutes of proceeding that I have voiced my opposition against this decision. I do it this way. So make sure that you do always what you consider is right. Positive employee relations, not industrial relations. Build your relations with employees. Long-term relationship, never build short-term relationship, always build long-term relationship. Meaningful work, at the level of CIPD, there's so much research. If you go to the website and try to read about it, meaningfulness of work, you see the amount of work that has been done to make sure that HR managers make sure that the work that you ask people to do is meaningful. Otherwise, all the theories of motivation becomes irrelevant. Meaningful work. Equal opportunities for psychological growth. Give people equal opportunities to grow psychologically with the organization. HR's role in ethics. We are not saying that, this is HR's role in ethics, not AHR, it's a mistake. Yes, it is not for HR to be solely responsible for ethics. Everyone in the organization, everyone, all should be responsible for ethics. But HR can take the leadership role. Build enablers, build people around to become your facilitators. We'll move to the next one, the dilemma. What we see in this? We see that what is happening nowadays, it is perhaps good news for the function. HR is considered to be a panacea. You know what is a panacea? Panacea. HR is considered as a panacea. It is what we call in medical terms a generic medicine, like Panadol. You drink it for any pain that you have, anything that you have, take Panadol. So HR is considered as a panacea for everything wrong happening in the organization, everything not working in the organization, go to HR. Go to HR. They cannot handle a person that they have recruited, go to HR. They cannot solve whatever issues it is. For this one, go and see the HR. And then someone says to them, what do I have to do with this? An error in purchase of something, it is not working well, the file lands on your table, a panacea. This is what is happening. But that's why, since yesterday, my message has been, take a leading role. Make sure that this profession in which you are comes forward. Yesterday, Bob talked about that. This is the motto of CIPD. Work is good, good working lives. So we have, I will be sharing because of a constraint of time, I will share the slides with you. Because today we have to make sure that what people do in the organization is meaningful, is good. They have good working lives, which means that when they come at the workplace, you know the famous demotivation explanation that was given. When people wake up in the morning, they have to go to work, and they say, en cause, ça fait qu'il y a we'll see the same question today. Big demotivation question. Make sure that we consider, we go in this track of making sure that work is good and we make good working lives. Understanding and tackling the causes of unethical behavior in the workplace, trying to understand first and then tackle, understand what is happening, what is wrong, where are all the unethical behaviors, then tackle them. To what extent is unethical behavior the result of individual choices? Individual choices. Because sometimes some major issues of organizations are as a result of their individual choices. I remember one long debate in the field of HR has been, how do you fight absenteeism? How do you fight absenteeism? And I think rightly somebody was saying yesterday, you pay people to come to work. They are paid to come to work. And then, on top of that, you give them an attendance bonus. And you think, in so doing, you are addressing the problem of absenteeism. Not possible. An attendance bonus will never solve the problem of absenteeism. Why? These people, it is an individual choice. They choose individually to be absent. And that has to be sanctioned. You have the extremes, getting rid of them, giving them verbal warnings and all this. And apart from these extremes, there is another approach, which is called the soft approach, is to develop the id side of the mind. Educate the id side of the mind. Tell them it is wrong to be upset, you put extra work pressure on your colleagues, you have to be present, educate. So you have to find the root cause. Is it as a result of individual choices? Is unethical behavior the result of organization or industry-wide problems? Everybody is doing it, so therefore we are doing it. Everybody is giving commission, etc., bribes, so therefore we have to do it. Or in particular organizational culture or ingrained norms of behavior. How far is unethical behavior due to the difficult or compromising nature of decisions that people face at work? So we have to first understand, then we will be able to address these unethical issues. Ethical practices, I will leave you to do the reading afterwards, but we have seen in Mauritius, organizations have to contribute 2% of their profit to what we call the corporate social responsibility fund. And then, sometime before it was allowed that you use it yourself and you invest that 2% of your profit in what we call the areas where you had, so these were approved areas where you could spend that money. Health, education, sports, etc. And then finally they're saying that you could use only 50% of it. 50% will be used by the government to invest into key areas, and I think now it has gone down to 20%. You use 20% and to do things. But the corporate social responsibility thing has been a very good approach, at least in Mauritius. In my organizations, what we have done, in my business organization where I'm working, is that on top of the CSR, we have introduced a concept called ESR, Employees' Social Responsibility. So what we do is that we get employees to contribute to some funds, and then we use that fund to do things for the society. We have been helping people for education. It was called Prendre un enfant pour la main. For my staff who are around will remember that. Prendre un enfant pour la main. We did that. We constructed something like 10 houses for very poor people. It was called La Petite Maison du Bonheur, if I remember. We have also another concept called élan de solidarité. What is élan de solidarité? People will contribute some money, all the employees will put whatever they can, or they bring food, non-perishable food. The company will add some money to that, and we will buy food and share with what we call the targeted areas where there is high level of poverty and all this. So these things, when you do, so employees then get to learn what is poverty, what is people living in poor housing conditions, what is meant by that, and then these type of concerns bring up to top of mind what is ethics, what is right, what is wrong for society. We'll move to the other one. Organizations should do the right thing because it is the right thing to do. We've seen that yesterday. The Institute of Business Ethics research supports this view and demonstrates the benefits to organizations when they take their ethical values seriously. An open culture improves values, and open culture improves values, such as open communication. People from the hotel industry will perhaps remember a famous example from the hotel industry in Mauritius. There was a drug problem in a hotel. So the police came down, and many police came down and went to the room of one of the guests and arrested that person for drug consumption. So the hotel manager came down and said, not a word to a single person. Keep it tight to ourselves. Don't say anything to anyone. That was the instruction from the GM. And you know what was the message that went around the next day? The police came around, arrested the guest, and I think some managers are involved. Open communication. Open communication. And open culture improves morale. Open communication. Good relations with customers lead to an enhanced reputation. Good relations to customers lead to an enhanced reputation. I immediately come to my mind the Marks and Spencer example. For those of you who know, it came up with a very strong quality statement saying that when you buy a product from any Marks and Spencer stores, you can return the product. We won't ask you the reason why you're returning it. We will refund you your money. Very strong quality statement. So, good relations with customers lead to enhanced business reputation. Ethical companies outperform their peers financially in the longer term because they are sustainable, and sometimes the others get called for the wrong practices. I've got a movie, I think it is not going to play, and let's try a second movie.
Issues, policies, and problems related to ethics, fair treatment, discipline, and termination of employees. These issues have become more critical in today's environment. Some of our objectives are to explain what is meant by ethical behavior at work, discuss important factors that shape ethical behavior, describe specific ways in which HR management can influence ethical behavior, and to employ fair disciplinary practices. Ethics refers to the principles of conduct governing an individual or a group. Ethical decisions also involve morality, which is society's accepted standards of behavior. Unfortunately, it is not always clear which decisions are ethical and which are not. In many cases, we use the law as a benchmark to determine our behavior. However, the law is not always the best guide about what is ethical, because something may be legal but not right, and something may be right but not legal. We were all raised with essentially the same values. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. Ethics means making decisions that represent what you stand for, not just what is legal. Experts generally define organizational justice in terms of three components: distributive justice, procedural justice, and interactional or interpersonal justice. Let's discuss these components using a performance appraisal example. Distributive justice refers to the perceived fairness of the decision's result. So the question here is, do you, as an employee, feel that the end result of the performance evaluation was fair? Once again, we are looking at the perceived end result or outcome. Procedural justice refers to the fairness of the process. Here, the question we could ask is, do you believe the process the organization uses to do their performance evaluations is fair? Are their methods fair? Interactional or interpersonal justice refers to the manner in which managers conduct their interpersonal dealings with employees, and in particular to the degree to which they treat employees with dignity as opposed to abuse or disrespect. The question here is, does the organization treat all employees similarly and with respect? In relation to performance appraisal, do they give feedback in a private area where employees feel comfortable, and do they do this for everyone? There are several factors that shape the ethics of an organization. The first are individual factors. Because people bring to their jobs their own ideas of what is morally right and wrong, the individual must shoulder much of the credit or blame for their behavior. There are also organizational factors. The scary thing about unethical behavior at work is that it's not necessarily driven by personal interests. Studies show ethical lapses occur because employees feel pressure to do what they think is best to help their companies. The boss also has a tremendous amount of influence on behavior. The manager sets the tone and by his or her actions sends signals about what is appropriate behavior. For example, if you see the boss take a longer lunch break, then what signal does that send to you? Having an ethics policy or code is a signal that the firm is serious about ethics. Sometimes ethics codes work, and sometimes they don't. In many cases, it depends on how often the organization enforces the policy and reminds employees of the expected behavior outlined in the code. Lastly, the organizational culture helps to define what is expected. Organizational culture is the characteristic values, traditions, and behaviors a company's employees share. To an outside observer, a company's culture reveals itself in several ways. You can see it in employees' patterns of behavior, such as ceremonial events and written and spoken commands. You can also see it in the physical manifestations of a company's behavior, such as its written rules, office layout, organizational structure, and dress codes.
So, I think in this movie, it talks a lot about, bringing up what was a culture for ethics. A culture for ethics. That's why the next slide is about establishing an ethical culture. Make sure that people uphold your values. Make sure that in the day-to-day life of the organization, you can see all these values very visible. Create guides for staff, create do's and don'ts list, create things that make sure that they understand what is expected of them. And then you have to embed this culture, embed it into the way people live, the way they treat customers, the way they treat their colleagues at work, etc. Make sure that honesty and all these values that you say are visible or palpable. And then you embed it by making sure that you have a reward and recognition system in place. Reward and recognize the people that do well, the people that behave well, the people that have ethical values. Put it as one in your criteria for performance management. In your performance management system, put it there. Ethical values management. Make the link between corporate strategy and the ethical values and vision of the organization. Top management commitment, and in whichever culture, corporate culture that you want to implement, quality culture, training culture, ethical culture, whatever culture you want to implement, make sure you have top management commitment. If there is no top management commitment, the culture will never be able to establish itself. It's no longer do what I say, but don't do what I do. It's do what I say and do what I do. You know that. So people watch. We have had in the earlier presentations how the leaders are considered to be models. So what they do, people will copy. Your employees will copy. Top management commitment. Walk the talk. Clarity about ethical values. Incorporate it in selection when you select employees at the entry level, when you're selecting them. Make sure that you ask questions about ethics, about their values. In your appraisal, I say that earlier, in your reward. Communicate about good things happening in the every ethical activities you are doing. Measure, take corrective actions and report, update and review ethical values. Update your ethical values, review them. Are they still relevant? Should we change? Should we have new ones? And how do we communicate these ethical values? Communicate values and beliefs. Focus efforts on values through actions, not words, actions. Always uphold ethical values and stand firmly by your values. Build collaboration, build teamwork, build trust. Strengthen others to succeed. Strengthen others to succeed. Strengthen others to excel. Create role models. Have in your organization what we call stars, heroes. I have made a quick guidelines for HR professional. Know the laws. We have heard that earlier. Prioritize professional development. Be an ethical HR leader. Understand conflicts of interest. What is it? And you yourself always make sure that you never get involved in a conflict of interest. Implement diversity and inclusion practices. And finally, keep information confidential. We are talking about personal data here. Make sure that you keep this information personal. Don't give out personal data. Practically, provide clear and fair terms of employment. Provide clean, healthy, and safe working conditions. Strive for equality and diversity. Do not discriminate on whatever criteria, never discriminate. And this throughout, I've said a few times, throughout the employment cycle. Not only at the beginning, not only when you're developing them, or not only at the end when they open. Throughout the employment cycle. What else can we do? We have to motivate employees, keep up with good ethical values, keep morale always high and positive, develop skills and progress in careers, advancement, do not tolerate any type of harassment. There is no place for bullying at the workplace, only voluntary and appropriately aged employees, no forced labor, the greater good of the greater number. I have now an exercise for you at this stage, and I have a prize for this one. The prize will go because it will be the first one that gives me the correct answer. Jill, China, and so people can help me with this. I need few help because it will take time to distribute the table. Leave it face down, please. Leave it face down. When you distribute it face down, and please keep it face down. Don't cheat. That's an ethical test. Yeah, if you print the page, that will be an ethical test, and you will be removed from the room. Removed immediately by a few policemen waiting outside. Keep it face down, don't turn the page until I tell you to do so. We've been saying that, HR is also about technology. HR is about technology, so here we'll be testing also your technological mind. Seems to have something there for technology. Are we okay? All tables ready? All tables ready? Yes. Don't turn the page. Anne, I'm watching you, Anne. Anne, I'm watching you. So you have 2 minutes to complete this exercise. 2 minutes. Don't take more than that. 2 minutes. I'll time you here. Don't turn the page until I tell you to do so. So when I say go, then you will have a look at it. The first one who finds the answer raises his or her hand, and I check the answer. If it is right, the prize is gone. 2 minutes starts now.
But answer to what? So is only one picture we need to decode or all?
Sorry?
One picture we need to decode or all of those?
I have given all the instructions now. I don't have any further instructions. That will be helping you. Raj tells me he has the answer. Raj, are you okay? You have raised your... Raj, is it okay? Are you okay or no? So I listen to you. Let us see if Raj has the answer. He will share it with us. We are listening to you, Raj.
I said the Pope.
Sorry?
Pope.
No, where's the answer? You have recognized the Pope. Everybody has recognized the Pope. And he's visiting Mauritius on the 9th of September. Yes?
Yes.
Sorry? I listen to you.
Yes. The first in Egypt.
Sorry?
Egypt.
Egypt, yes.
Theater.
Sorry?
Theater. A theater.
Temple.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
H2O.
Yes.
Italy for the Pope. C for communism. And S for Jews.
Almost there, but we'll give you the right, we'll give you the answer. So the prize goes to him. Okay, so for you. And then you applause. The pyramid is for Egypt. Egypt starts with E. Egypt starts with E. The second one is not a theater, it's a temple, but we'll give it to him. Temple starts with T. H2O, water, starts with H. The Pope is from Italy. It starts with I. That's China, not communism. China starts with C, and shoes starts with S, ethics. So a big applause for our friend who finalized. And finally, as an epilogue to everything that has been said and everything that has been discussed throughout this 1.5 days, I think we'll end with this note. When HR professionals take a leading role for promoting ethics, and when businesses are ethical, businesses are good, and life is beautiful. Thank you very much.